Hello, dear students. Welcome all of you again to my DBMS lecture series. In this video, we are going to cover the introductory concepts of third unit under JNTUK syllabus R16 regulation. So, the third unit consisting of the introductory concepts regarding SQL. As already you know, what is the meaning of SQL? Structured query language. Structured query language. What is a query? First of all, the normal meaning of query is question. So, whenever any user wishes to retrieve the information which has been stored in terms of database, he may pose certain question. That question has to be given to the database management system in terms of query, and in order to write down that query in a language which is familiar to that of your computer system, we are using certain high level language that is called as SQL. So SQL is also one type of high level language which is better understandable by the computer system, by means of which the users can ask or query their required information from the database. So, by means of SQL, the users can ask their queries in order to retrieve their required information from the database. That is the purpose of your SQL language. Now, in this unit, we are going to learn about what are the contents of SQL, what are the various data types available in SQL, what are the parts, different types of SQL commands that are available, how we are going to write the queries by using your SQL. Now, we'll see all of the concepts in detail. Now, we are going in depth to any type of language. The fundamental concepts we must learn in any language or computer language is data types. As already you know, what is the meaning of data type? Data type defines the type of data that is being stored, and as well as what are the kinds of operations that we can perform on that particular data item that is being defined by means of a particular data type. Now we are going to see what are the different types of data types, what are the familiar data types available in your SQL language. The first type of familiar data types available in SQL languages are character data types or string data types. As their name indicates, the meaning of character data types or string data type is can be used in order to store a single character or collection of characters in your database. We are using this character or string data types. There exists wide variety of character data types in SQL language. The first data type is char. By means of this char, as its name indicates, we can store single character, collection of characters or a string in your database. The number of characters we can store by means of this char data type is 8000 characters. So the second type of string data type is varchar. The difference between char and varchar is, if we have given the char data type, for example, if we have given char of 20 for any value, for any variable, for example str, now see in this case, I have defined a variable str of the data type char of 20. Whenever I have defined any variable of data type char having some number of characters, it will reserve that many number of characters for that variable. So what is the size of your string? The size of your str is 20 bytes will be reserved for str. So for example, if you have given the value for str dbms, the value for str as dbms, so how many characters are required for storing the str? Only 4 characters length is required. But whenever you have given the size of your str by using this char of 20, that 20 bytes are being reserved for this str, even though the size of the actual value is 4 bytes, the remaining 16 bytes are going to be wasted. So whenever you have used the character data type, the size of that particular string is fixed. Whatever may be the dynamic entry that you have given for that particular variable, irrespective of the size of that variable, the number of characters or the number of bytes reserved for that variable is fixed. So that is a basic disadvantage of your character data type. So in order to avoid the disadvantage of that character data type, another data type has been introduced, that is nothing but varchar. So for example, see, if the same variable str I have defined as varchar of 20, so if we have given the value for str in the similar way as dbms, so depending on the value for that variable, it is going to use only 4 bytes. It will reserve or it will free all the remaining 16 bytes, such that the 16 bytes can be used for and some another type of variable. That is the advantage of varchar when compared to that of your character variable. So these are the two different types of most familiar used data types in your SQL for storing the string variables, that is char and varchar. So whenever the varchar without any variable, without any size has been defined, you can store maximum of 8000 characters, just as in the case of your character. By using varchar of max, you can specify your own requirement by using the varchar of max size. So the next available data type for storing the string is text also. This text data type can also be used in order to store the string variables. Category of data types in SQL we are going to discuss is numeric data types. As the name indicates, by means of numeric data types, we are going to store the numeric values, either integers or the floating point numbers. There exist basically 4 different numerical data types available. As you are seeing, the first numeric data type is integer. So it will occupy, whenever we have used the integer data type, it is going to occupy 4 bytes in your memory. The second data type is big int, it will occupy 8 bytes. The next 2 data types can be used in order to store the floating point values as well as the integer values. As you are seeing, the third data type for the numeric value storing is decimal. The syntax of using the decimal data type is decimal of p comma s, where p stands for precision of that particular number and s stands for scale of that particular number. As you already know, the meaning of precision is totally how much width the number is going to occupy, including the decimal point, that will be given by means of your precision value. So the scale indicates the number of values or the number of digits that we are going to use after the decimal point, that is right to the decimal point. That number of digits after the decimal point can be indicated by means of the scale value. For example, see, if you have given n of decimal of 4 comma 2, what is the meaning of this one? Here we have defined a number, a variable n, by using the decimal data type consisting of the precision of 4 and a scale of 2. So the values for n you can give as, for example, if I have given 10.26, so totally you have used 4 digits 1026, that can be called as the precision of that number. So after the decimal point you have used only the 2 digits, that is being called as the scale of that particular number. So for example, I will take one another example, n1 of decimal of 8 comma 2. So what is the meaning of this statement? The maximum number of digits I can use for n1 is 8, including the digits after the decimal point, and after the decimal point the allowed number of digits is only the 2, as well as it can round up the number of digits after the decimal point up to 2 digits only. That is the meaning of decimal of 8 comma 2. For example, if I have given the n value as 106438.2345, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, only the 2 digits are required. After that decimal point, it will be round up all of these values as 106438.23 itself. So that is the meaning of decimal data type. So the next category of numeric data type is also numeric data type. The numeric data type is also very much similar to that of your decimal data type. The syntax, as you are seeing, is numeric of p comma s, where p indicates the precision of that number and s indicates the scale of that number, as we have discussed previously. So in all of these two data types, decimal as well as the numeric, I can use the negative scales also. So for example, if I have used the number as n as decimal of 5 comma minus 2, what is the meaning of this statement? The number of digits can be rounded up to nearest value of 100. So whatever may be the floating point number that we are using, that can be rounded nearest value to the 100. That why? Because I have given the scale as minus 2. If I have specified the scale as minus 3, the number will be rounded up to the nearest value of 1000. If I have specified the scale value as minus 4, the number will be rounded up to the nearest value of 10,000. Likewise, the values can be scaled, or the values can be rounded up to the nearest numbers of 10 powers 2, 10 power scale. That is the meaning of negative scale number. So this is about the numeric data types. See what are the different types of SQL commands that are available. Basically, we are having 3 categories of SQL commands. The SQL commands categories are, as you are seeing, DDL, DML and DCL, where the DDL stands for Data Definition Language and DML stands for Data Manipulation Language and DCL stands for Data Control Language Commands. So the major categories of SQL commands are DDL commands, DML commands and DCL commands, where DDL stands for Data Definition Language, DML stands for Data Manipulation Language and DCL stands for Data Control Language Commands. As its name indicates, Data Definition Language Commands can be used in order to define the data items that are being stored to your database. So the DDL commands can be used in order to define the database itself. The definition of database includes, okay. So as its name indicates, the DDL commands can be used to define the data that is being stored to your database. So definition of data includes the data types of the data items and the relationships among the data items, and the constraints among the data items can also be defined. Okay na? So by means of your DDL commands, we are going to define what are the data types of that data items, and what are the relationships that are existed among the data items, as well as what are the constraints that are being imposed on that data items. As already you know, the meaning of constraints is conditions or the validity statements that are needed to be satisfied by means of the date statements can be defined as constraints. So by using DDL commands, we are going to define what are the data items as well as what are the data types of the data items, relationships that are existed among the data items, as well as the constraints that should be satisfied by means of the data items can be defined by means of your DDL commands. So under the category of DDL commands, as you are seeing, we can use the create schema command, create table commands, alter commands, and drop table commands can come under the category of DDL commands, as you will see in the next PPTs. The DDL commands consisting of create table, alter table, and drop table commands comes under the category of DDL. So the create table command can be used to create the relations, alter table command can be used to alter the definition of already defined relations, and the drop table command can be used in order to drop, that is in order to delete the table that has been already existed in your database. So all these three commands come under the category of your DDL, that is data definition language commands. So the next category of SQL is DML. As already you know, what is the abbreviation for DML? Data manipulation language. By means of your DML commands, we are going to manipulate the data that is already existed in your database. The purpose of your DML commands is to manipulate the data that is already existed in your database. So various commands comes under the category of your DML. That commands are insert command, delete command, update command, and select command. So these four categories of commands comes under the category of your DML, which can be used to manipulate the data that is existed within your database. As its name indicates, the insert command can be used to insert the data, new data items to your database. The delete command can be used to delete already existed data from your database, and update command can be used to update or to modify the already existed data in your database. And the last one, select command, can be used to retrieve the data from the database. We are using the select command. So under the DML, we are having four different commands that are insert, to insert the new data items, delete, to delete already existed data items, update, to modify the existed data with the new data, and the select can be used to retrieve the our required information from the database. So that is about DML commands. So the last category of SQL commands is DCL. As its name indicates, DCL stands for Data Control Language Commands. So by means of the DCL, you mean that you are going to control the access permissions or authorization permissions to the data which is existed within your database. The purpose of your DCL is to control the access or authorizations to the data that has been existed within your database. To control the access or authorization to your data in the database, we are using the DCL commands. So basically, the three commands comes under the category of your DCL, that are grant and revoke. So these two commands comes under the category of your DCL. As its name indicates, the grant command can be used to grant certain access permissions to certain group of users, we are using the grant command. As its name indicates, the revoke command can be used to drop already existed authorizations to a certain group of users. We are using the revoke commands. So this is about the three categories of SQL commands. So as you have already learned, the three categories of SQL commands are DDL, which stands for data definition language. Under that category, we are having create table, alter table and drop table commands. So the second category is DML, which can be used to manipulate the data, and under that commands we are having insert command, delete command, update command and select commands. And under the category of DCL, we are having two commands that are grant and revoke, which can be used to grant or to revoke the access permissions to certain group of users to the data items that are existed within your DBMS. So now we are going to see in detail about the syntax of these various types of commands, as well as how that commands are being executed, what are the effects, including with examples. As we have already defined, the DDL commands can be used to define the database itself. The database definition includes the data item definitions together with their names and data types, as well as the relationships among the data items and the constraints of that data items. All these things can be defined by using the DDL commands. Basically, the DDL commands can be used. Basically, the DDL commands can be categorized as create table, alter table and drop table. And among them, the first one is create command. By means of the create command, we can define the schema, we can define the table, or we can define the view by means of the create command, that is create schema, create table and create view. These are the three different types of create commands I can use. As its name indicates, the create schema can be used to define the schema of your database. As already you know, the meaning of schema is defining the database in terms of chosen data model. In terms of chosen data model. As we already know, the familiar data model that is being used by means of your SQL is relational data model, by means of which we can define our database as a collection of relations or as a collection of tables. So, in order to define the database in terms of tables, our relational schema definition can be defined by using the create schema command. The next command is create table command. As its name indicates, the create table command can be used in order to define the relations. The relations here is a technical word for table. As already you know, a table is a collection of rows and columns where the columns define the attributes of your database and the rows defines the tuples of your database. In order to define the database as a table, you are using create table command. The create table command can be used in order to define a single table in your database. The third type of create command is create view. As its name indicates, the create view command can be used in order to define the view of your database or table. What is the meaning of a view? It is the perception of the user or the perception of the single user. Here the view means the perception of the single user, or in another words, what what sort of information from your table is exactly needed by the user, only that part can be defined by means of a create view. For example, if the student table consisting of student ID, student name and branch and phone number, a particular user wish to retrieve only SID and SName, I can create a view as view 1 consisting of only SID and SName. That means a view indicates the part of the database in which the user is interested, or the perception of the user against the database can be defined as the view. In order to create a single perception for each and every individual users, we can create the views. In order to create the views, we are using the create view command. So these are the three different sorts of create commands that can be used in order to define the database. Create schema, which can be used to define the relational schema. Create table, which can be used in order to define the table. Create view, which can be used in order to define the view itself, which we'll learn in detail together with the examples in next. We will see how the table is being created by using the create table command. So before we see how to create the table by using the create table command, we will see what are the steps that are needed for the table creation. The first step in order to do the table creation is we need to identify what must be the data items that should be stored under that table, and what are the data types for that attributes, as well as what are the constraints on that particular attributes, that are whether that attributes can be null or not, or whether the attributes can be either the candidate keys or they can be the foreign keys, or some default values are existed among that attributes or not. All these types of constraints can be learned before we are going to define the table. So in order to define a table, first we should understand what are the data items, that are needed to be stored in terms of the table. All the data items can be called as attributes or fields or columns of that particular relation or a table. Whatever may be the data items that are being stored in your table, the data items can be called as attributes or fields or columns. So the first step in order to define a table is you must understand what sort of data items to be stored in terms of your table, that are called as attributes, and as well as a second step you must understand what can be the data type of that attributes, what can be the data type of that attributes, as well as you must define what are the conditions that should be satisfied by means of that attributes. And you must define the kind of relationships that are existed among the data items also. So before we are going to define the table, you must identify the attributes, their data types, their constraints, as well as the relationships. All of them should be identified. Next we will see what is the meaning of a constraint and what are the different types of constraints available in SQL.